Hey guys, it's Rylee and my mom here.
Nice.
Today I just wanted to talk about kind of my experience before I went to the hospital because we had a lot of questions like what were my symptoms, what made me want to go to the hospital, how did it all happen, and just all the things. So,
Gonna talk about that.
yeah, let's get to it.
So why don't you start by just talking about the actual day that we actually ended up at the ER.
Well, here, I'll say this. I've had diabetes, but we didn't know about this for about 3 months. And I had no idea. None of us knew. Yeah. And I've been dancing hardcore for the past 3 months, like way hardcore than I ever have because competition season is coming back. Like just barely, I had 4 weeks and there was a competition every single weekend for 4 weeks. So it was crazy. So I was starting to get all the symptoms of diabetes, like frequent urination, always wanting to drink water. I was losing weight. I was just all the things that are pretty much on the diabetes thing. But since I was just so active, I just thought maybe that it was just that, like, I was losing weight because I was working so hard. I was always thirsty because I was dancing all day. I was tired because I was juggling dance and school, but it was all related to diabetes. But we still had no idea.
So
Yeah.
on Tuesday last week, Rylee had just come off of a weekend of doing Nouveau, which is a dance convention. It's very competed with her team, classes, auditions for scholarships, whatever. We were at Nouveau and I couldn't get Rylee enough water bottles. Like literally, I think I bought her, the day of the competition, I bought her 6 water bottles. And I'd go back to the dressing room and they'd be gone. And I'm like, are you pouring them out? Are you giving them to someone else? She's like, no, I'm drinking them. I'm so thirsty. So,
And I was after every competition, we go to Starbucks, I'd get a large water and a large pink drink, and then
chug it down.
Because I was starving after everything, and then I was thirsty after everything.
So we did Nouveau. We were home Sunday, and Sunday was a chill day. And it's kind of funny because we were actually having that was actually Mother's Day. So we we're having a little family barbecue. And Rylee sent me this TikTok while she was in the living room and I was in the kitchen. But it was a TikTok of a girl laying in the dark, pointing to the squares of her diabetes symptoms. And Rylee sent it to me and said, see, I have diabetes. And we were all like, oh, Rylee, you're so dramatic, whatever. So Sunday went by, Monday went by, it was a pretty chill day. And then Tuesday, off she goes to dance, just a normal day. She had lessons, and those are pretty intense. And then she went to eat with her partner, Carter, and called me after and was just terrible stomach pain.
When I was with Carter, I was eating a lot. We went to Cafe Rio and I had a salad, which is so much carbs, so much. And then I went and got a fizz and I got a 44-ounce soda. Then I was drinking a bunch of water. And then I went to go get boba and I got a full-on boba slushie, a mango boba. And all in the span of an hour. And then after I eat, I'm deathly ill. And so I fell asleep in his car because I just I didn't feel good. And then he was like, oh my gosh, your lips are discolored. What's going on? You don't look well. And I was like, I don't know. I think I'm still recovering from the weekend. But then I made him stop places to let me go pee because I had to pee every 15 minutes. And mind you, the nights before any of this was happening, I was waking up 4 to 3 times every night to pee. And even though I would pee and I was drinking 44 ounces of water, I would still be edging for water because I was so thirsty all the time. And so
she
yeah.
called me to come pick her up, which, like, if you know Rylee and know, like, what a hard worker she is, for her to call me and say, I want to come home from dance, even though she knew that she had rounds that night, which rounds are when she trains with her ballroom partner, and they're important for competitions to get ready. And she's like, I want to come home. And so that was like unusual for her, because usually if I'm the one that's saying, you should come home, you've done enough, she's like, no, I have to stay, I have to work, we've got to get ready for this or that. So we pick Rylee up from dance and we take her home, and she starts to feel a little bit better. And we were actually heading to dinner to meet Lindsay and have dinner when we all got in the car. But it was at that time that she was kind of talking to her dad about it, and she mentioned about how she was getting up to pee 3 or 4 times a night, and that got his attention. This is where the mom guilt comes in just a little bit, because all these things were happening, but they were sporadic and spread out. And I don't know about you guys, but if you've grown up in a house where your parents are like medical professionals, we're a little bit like calloused to our kids are always like, we have to be really sick to get your attention, or really hurt to get, an x-ray or something, because Rylee's dad at work listens to people's symptoms and problems all day long, and all he does is solve their problems and listen and help. And so when he comes home, he's kind of, not that he checks out, but he's just, Rylee, for all intents and purposes, looked fine. There were certain things that were happening, but it wasn't like she was deathly ill all the time. So anyway, when she told her dad that she was getting up at night to pee, he went, wait, what? Because he hadn't heard that part. And so he was kind of just like, you know what? Let's just go get your blood sugar tested.
And we were like, pretty much our mindset was, if we get our blood sugar tested, she'll stop talking about it.
Yeah.
And we'll be like,
it'll be normal and we'll be fine.
And we'll be able to go to dinner and have a good time.
Yeah.
And so then we drove to the hospital, and we went to go get my blood sugar checked with a little like device thing that I'm using now. And we were reading it, and it said high, like it wasn't even reading what number it was, it just said high. So we were like, oh my goodness, like she has type 1 diabetes. And so then they admitted me into the hospital and started putting me on fluids. And then later on, they told me that I was 1,023, my number of blood sugar. I was also hypoglycemic. So, yeah.
Oh, you were
hypoglycemic.
No, hypo's low. Hyper's high.
Hyperglycemic.
Back up just a little bit. So this is the point where we called Brindley, because she was actually working at the ER, and we said, meet us out in the parking lot, because we were still kind of like casually like, let's just get this test and go on our way. Mm-hmm. So Brindley did, and when the test came back, it just the machine just said high, and Brindley looked up at Rylee's dad and was like, it says high, and her dad goes, she has diabetes. And this is the part we didn't get on camera, because the girls do YouTube videos, but we don't film everything that we do in our lives. And I would have never thought to pull out my phone and film this moment, but this was the moment where it hit Rylee, because for her dad to say that made it real. And Rylee immediately burst into tears and was like, I think the second thing that came out of her mouth was, will I still be able to dance? And we were trying to comfort her, and I'm like, take it again, do it again, maybe it was wrong. And so Brindley's like, okay, Mom. And so she does it one more time. It comes back high, and this part was really cool, because this was when Brindley just kind of like took over and was just like, okay, so Mom, Dad, I'm gonna take Rylee inside and get her checked in, you guys park. And I think back on that moment, because Rylee's dad and I became parents at that moment. We weren't like, he wasn't thinking medically. He knew that at that point that it meant she had diabetes if her blood sugar was that high. But we were just kind of looking at each other like, crap, what do we do? Like we were going to dinner, what's going on? Like we don't have stuff packed, whatever. And so Brindley took charge and took Rylee into the ER. Josh and I parked the car and went in. And then Brindley turned Rylee's care over to another nurse, but luckily was able to be with Rylee the entire time, and her shift had just ended too. So she stayed, and it was so nice to have her sister there just to like be there for her. And everyone at the hospital was so nice to Rylee and once they got her actual blood results back and saw that her blood sugar was 1,026, then they started to like get a little bit, I wouldn't say panicked, but that's when it got real. So we got our blood results. Even at that point, Brindley's like, okay, they're gonna admit Rylee, and I think Rylee on the video was like, can I go home in the morning, kind of thing. And I was thinking, yeah, we'll be here for the night just to double check, and then we'll go home in the morning.
I was also gonna like go to California that weekend too and get a new solo for the year, kind of.
She had
and
plans.
We were like, we're still gonna go, it's still gonna happen, but we ended up staying there for 3 days, and
yeah. And we actually were lucky to come home as quickly as we did, because some kids have to stay a little bit longer because it's all about them getting education. The whole time we were at the hospital, it was
learning how to deal with it.
Dietitians and the doctor and the nurses just teaching. There's a lot to learn about diet and insulin, and how insulin affects your blood sugar, and how to take your blood sugar, and how to give shots. But Rylee was like a pro. She was instantly, luckily you're not like super afraid of needles, so it was good.
Yeah. If I was, that would have changed everything. But pretty much, I now look back like 3 months, and I do realize that I was not like healthy. I was super sick. I didn't ever really feel good. I was like dark circles all the time. I never like felt like looked good or felt like myself.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's important to talk about, because like I said, all of the symptoms like individually were kind of like, I could kind of write them off as like teenage girl problems.
Right.
Like she was tired.
And I also didn't have a period for a really long time, so I was thinking maybe it's coming.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I feel crappy, is because it's coming.
Yeah, like when her tummy hurt, I'm like, well, you're probably about to start your period, but had nothing to do with that. Headaches, just general. The thing that's I think kind of like exciting for me now, because I know now Rylee is getting the medicine she needs, she's gonna feel better, because it's been a frustrating 3 months of dance for Rylee, because some weekends she felt great and some weekends she didn't feel great.
And sometimes I felt like the effort I was putting into dance wasn't like showing, and I was still like, teachers were getting mad, stuff like that. Like I wasn't quite like on it.
And you were even getting mad, because I remember after that one ballroom comp, your teacher was kind of like frustrated, saying, you know, what are you doing? Like, you're not even trying, kind of thing. Because it looked like she was giving half effort, but she, in her brain, she was giving up everything she had. But then she watched the video after, and she was like, oh my gosh, I don't.
I was just getting worse, and I wasn't like seeing really good dancing in myself, and we were like, it's a sinus infection, you have a little cold.
Sometimes you'll just have a bad day.
Sometimes you have a bad day. Your head cold is putting you in a bad space or whatever, and just all the things, but it never really was what it was. And like, I've been having some really weird mood swings, and I've been grumpy a lot. Like, I was
like teenage drama, teenage girl
like
problems.
She's gonna start her period again. Just like I was in Reno for another dance convention. This was my first convention of like the month of like weekend to weekend to weekend. And that was when I was kind of starting to feel I was like sleeping before things. I was like super grumpy before I did my solo, and like not wanting to do anything. I didn't want to like go outside. I didn't want to go somewhere to eat. Like I just wanted to stay in the hotel, and it was just like not like me. Like I usually don't do that. And yeah.
Even when we were in Florida on spring break, there was days where Rylee just didn't even want to like sit at the beach. And
yeah, we were at the beach, and I was like so sick, and like the sun was hurting. Like being out there like was so gross, and everyone's like, why aren't you having fun? Like my dad was mad. He was like, you shouldn't like be so pouty, like you're fine.
You're on vacation, have fun.
And it's all because we just didn't realize that I had diabetes.
So as her blood sugar would go up and down, she would feel super crappy. And the doctor said that probably the reason why she was able to function, because 1,026 is like dangerously high.
Right.
But she was dancing so much, she was burning off blood sugar. So it was
the only reason I was like surviving practically and not having like seizures or passing out was because I was dancing so much for such a long period of time.
But I mean, I think, you know, as much of a bummer as it is to have diabetes now, and like this is a lifetime thing and it's something that she's going to always have and take care of, it's also, I think, nice for Rylee to realize that these last few months of her feeling so bad and like feeling like she wasn't doing her best or dancing at her best or even having fun, like being able to just kick back and have fun and wasn't her fault. And now with the medicine, she's already starting to just feel so much better.
Yeah, and I'm super excited to like get back to dancing and just see how I feel like doing that and not being as tired when I dance for little amounts of time and like being to go all in. Yeah, stuff like that. We have no idea how I got type 1 diabetes, so we don't know what struck it or anything. So
yeah,
it's
it's an autoimmune disease and it just happens. And it's been so amazing to see in Rylee's posts and on this channel, the comments, how many people out there that have type 1. Because it's one of those things you could have that people would never know because you just handle it. And it's been so awesome to hear from so many people, and people have been so like helpful, like giving suggestions about different monitors and pumps, and we will get to all of that when our doctor lets us do that. Right now we're just kind of doing the old school method because that's what he wants us to do. Yeah. And but it's been so great because everyone has been so like, the community, I can tell, is just amazing. And it's kind of like now she has something in common with so many people. And so keep the suggestions and comments coming because she's going to need suggestions and helps along the way. But Rylee just kind of felt like the last video started in the emergency room after she'd kind of calmed down and knew she had it. But I just kind of she kind of wanted to get on here because a lot of people are asking about her symptoms. So just summarize again, like what your symptoms were. Just like list them off, like what they were.
So I was tired, I was peeing a lot, I was super thirsty all the time, I had stomach aches, I had mood swings, I didn't feel like myself.
You were kind of binging.
I was binge eating, but I was also losing weight, so that was really weird. I was eating the most I've ever eaten in my life, but not gaining any weight. And yeah, those were pretty much my symptoms, but yeah, it was pretty crazy and super unexpected because no one in our family has type 1 diabetes that we know of. So it was pretty crazy, but thank you guys for watching. That was super fun talking about. We love you. Thank you for all the suggestions, comments, nice things you've said, and hope you enjoyed this video. You can subscribe, hit the bell, do all the things, and if you have any more questions, we can do another Q&A if you'd like to. Just write some in the comments, but I think that's about it. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, you
Bye.
guys.